connect, serve, and grow is what you can expect at the House of Reconciliation. Leadership, community, education, wellness, and participation is part of our plan for your spiritual growth and success. Family and faith is a core value for the House of Reconciliation, working to help people find their purpose. Want to make an impact in the kingdom? Ready to tap into your future? Meet us at the House.
We good now? All right, we good. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. We're here at the Greenwood campus, the House of Reconciliation, on a Tuesday, 210 Pansy Road, Hodges, South Carolina. I want to thank you for those that have been coming to the services, and for those that are still a part of our virtual campus, and to our Greenville campus, and to all of our global connections. We are happy and excited that you are joining us this evening, and we purpose not to waste your time. I do have a thought for you. I always like to share with people who may be visiting and watching for the first time. The goal of the House of Reconciliation is simple: to identify, to ratify, and to move on from past experiences and grow in Christ. I want to take this opportunity to share with you something that I've seen pick up in numbers. We started talking about broken behind the smile. So now we're headed, this is the last day of May, and hopefully you've had a wonderful holiday and a very blessed month of May, which is the month of grace. And we want to rethink all of our veterans, and for all of the families and the wounded soldiers, and to the fathers and the mothers who've lost sons and daughters, and to people who have lost loved ones. We don't take it as one day to be grateful. We are grateful every day for the freedom that your family members, your moms, your dads, your brothers and your sisters, and your relatives have done for centuries and decades to protect the freedom to be able to come and even broadcast to you without any kind of handcuffs. So I do not, and I know it is very disgusting when you make great sacrifices and have the trauma of what happened and going through, and then see people who do not value their freedom living in America every day. So just know, from the House of Reconciliation, Greenwood campus, Greenville campus, and also our virtual campus, we are eternally grateful for what you have done, and for those that have made the ultimate sacrifice, and for what those that are doing to this day. So we're grateful not just for a holiday to eat cheeseburgers and hot dogs, but also for those that I spoke to yesterday and said thank you for your service. And we continue today to say thank you, and to all of the families that have supported. We are tremendously proud and honored to be able to have the freedom that we have. We had talked about the number 5 means grace. And hopefully in the first month where we created New Year's resolutions, that we created unity between our body, mind, and spirit, that now we understand. And I think number 4 was creation, that we have been created, and that we are creating something. Now in the month of May, we were supposed to take the creation, the ideal, and put it into something, plant it, and God give us grace to write the plan. The challenge with that, as we move into the month of June, the number 6 represents evil in the spiritual numerical order. This is not mine. This is not whether you were born in June or anything like that. It's just the number 6. And it represents evil. But let's break evil down and bring it into a current word that you and I can understand: adversary, agitator, and to certain groups, haters, and all that other sort of thing. But here's what we want to be aware of. It is really a month of spiritual challenges and earthly stumbling blocks. And if we are not God-centered and balanced, everything that you have done in the first 6 months can become unglued in the first 6 days or 10 days of the month of June. It's interesting that in the month of June, in most instances in this part of the world, that the heat rises. Now, the challenge behind that is the number 7 means perfection. Whatever that you brought your body, mind, and soul, and whatever goals and aspirations that you've written down, and you've become unified in your approach to your new life, and to come under unity, and to come into creation, and to come under grace. Understand, before you can perfect it, it has to be tested. And so I think it's interesting that next month is the month of the number 7 means, it says perfection, but it relies in perfecting what you have put in place. Why? Because if you perfected it, you go to the number 8, which will be the month of August, as many colleges and universities are going back to school, as well as high school, middle school, kindergartens, all those going in. It's a new day, which means in the month of August, it is open to a new learning period for you. The problem is, most of us hadn't learned anything since we left elementary school. So what we're going to have to do is look at both sides of the trap. So we say, June, beware of spiritual challenges and earthly stumbling blocks. Expect no this month. Expect it. Expect strife this month. Expect negativity. If you expect it, now you can prepare yourself that when it happens, you're not so bothered by it because it will not catch you off guard. Here is what we're going to talk about out of Proverbs, the 16th chapter, and we're going to try to stick with just verse 27. And I came up with this topic. We were dealing with broken behind the smile. Many people, thank you for all of the likes and supports that you have shown on social media and on YouTube. And we talked about misinformation leads to misdirection. That is still prevalent. The scriptorial says, an ungodly man diggeth up evil. You can put me in a box. I'm going to share this with you. There are people who are challenged by the very thought that you can be free. Free in your mind, free in your spirit, free in your body, and free in your God. And here is what's so true. Many times we meet the ungodly before we meet the godly. And because so many people have done us wrong, said things, did things, hurt us. And here's the thing. It normally happens when you're young, you're innocent, to some degree insecure, to some degree vulnerable, looking for love, willing to trust, but have no spiritual insight and foresight and no experience to know what you're dealing with. Because truly, when you're excited about something, sometimes you think everybody is hating on you. But if you go back in your mind, someone warned you about the evil crowd you hang around, or the crowd that hangs around you. Now I'm going to break this into a couple variables here. Sometimes evil people are the ones who keep you from going to school because your environment is not accustomed to producing college certified trained people. And they will say to you, as I come from, just get a job. And pretty much anybody that's over 40 will really say, I need more than a job. So when you look at the second part of this, part B, it says, and in his lips there is as a burning fire. Ungodly people who feel like their life is over will put poison in your life. And what they will first do is poison your spirit by poisoning your hope, your faith, your enthusiasm, and your excitement for life. Many people who are hurt and broken by things in life will turn around and hurt someone else. And here's the kicker: it doesn't fix what was broken or what is broken in them. Because negative people hate, that's a strong word, happy people. And so somewhere in life, people have altered your dreams, they've altered your personality, they have altered how you believe and how you see yourself. And they hurt you because they have been hurt. And many times, most people will not say it, admit it, or share it. But they're truly not happy. Now, let's make this clear. People cannot make you happy, because there's some things you and I refuse to let go of. False hope is one of them, where we're still hoping for something that has no interest, no desire in us. And if it doesn't have interest and desire in you, then it cannot help you build a sustainable future for yourself. Now, the next part of this, the job that you're working, is it a job that can take you to the finish line? Is it a job that can give you the latitude in your financial desires to accomplish what you would like to accomplish? If not, you don't need an angel from heaven. You don't need writing on the wall. If your desires, and they don't have to be high, but they can be very realistic. And where you are, if you cannot stand up on that floor the way you're standing up for the next 5 or 10 years, you're in the wrong place. And the reason you're afraid to move, I call it two things: feet in concrete and standing in quicksand. What does that mean? Quicksand really is something that takes you down slowly. And many of us today are praising God and thanking Jesus and doing and trying to live the best spiritual life we can. But the Lord says that I want you to live and breathe. The number redemption, the number 20, means redemption. You're going to have to go get your freedom. Nobody's coming to give it to you. And part of getting that freedom is stop listening to people who are not like-minded as you. Here is something. Most people today are literally afraid to dream. Dreams are connected to your soul, and your soul is connected to the source of life. And when life can abuse you, people can abuse you. This is why I say, and I look at the animal kingdom, and I say we can learn a lot from animals. The parents will take care of the baby eagle, the baby hart, until they know it should be big enough and strong enough to fly and find food for itself. Many people today are still looking for someone to hand something to them. Let me tell you about the ungodly. The ungodly diggeth up evil. The ungodly also punishes you so bad you think everybody owe you something. So you spread your pain, you spread your struggle, you spread your uncertainty on other people, and you put a demand on them that you're unwilling to put on yourself. Now, many of you see the broken vessel. Here is the problem. The more God pours into you, the more you let it run out of you, because of the voices and the behaviors and the environments of ungodly people. Their words, and I shared this with some people, and I really think they were offended with me. I said to them, you're more concerned about what other people think about you than your relationship with God. You're more concerned about the social media platforms than what your assignment is in God. The problem is most people are living in a land that's not living in them. I said it again. They're living in a land that's not living in them. If the land was living into you, then it would fertilize and it would nurture you to the point that you would bear the fruit that God has given you in your dreams. Fear cannot be conquered until you identify fear as an enemy. I'll say it again. Fear cannot be conquered until you identify fear as an enemy. Because most people are not prepared for this, what I'm about to say. This month, I want to teach us how to know how to handle friction. So I would take it to this point now. What are you digging for? What are you digging for? Every day in your life, you can take me out. Every day in your life. Now notice, I want to teach you something here. Many people are digging in people to hurt them, but the earth is the only thing guaranteed to give you something back if you plant something in it. How many times have you invested in people and they turned around and went the wrong way? How many times have you given financial support, moral support? How many times have you sacrificed for other people that they can have, but when they get something, they never share it with you? That is what you should classify as bad soul. And a lot of times, bad soul are people that you're in relationships with that don't want you. Bad soul is people who continue to tell you, you don't need education, you don't need certification, you don't need credentials, you don't need a skill assessment. That's bad soul. Bad soul is when people tell you things like this: you're an overachiever. That's bad soul. You're lucky. Why are you so different? People tongues will set fire to your dreams. Many of us are in a mental burn center right now. And the smoke from what somebody said is still perpetuating in your mind. When I dealt with this, and I share this with you, when I talked about the nightmares of my mind, there are people who purposely try to sabotage you. Watch this. So then they don't have to be responsible for their gifts. See, every time you or someone or your friends or the audience or those that are across the globe, every time you think negative of yourself, you cut the light off on faith. And so the enemy comes in and he attacks you. And his words burn because you don't have enough shield, enough Spirit of God. You don't have a hedge of praise. We don't have a hedge of thanksgiving. We're too tender. People can say something to you on Monday that'll be still bothering you 3 years from now. That's what an ungodly person does. They pick you. They pick your mind. They pick your spirit. They know your weakness. And here's the point. You can say whatever you want to say, but the tone of your voice says something completely different. Well, you know, don't call me no more. Stop that. You know you want them to call. It's over. They know it ain't over. I told a friend of mine, they may be watching the broadcast today, and they were like, this, and this, and this, and he did this, and this, and this, and this. And I said, then I tell you what, let me put on a friend's hat. If you are so sick and tired of what he's done and what he's doing and how he's treated you and how he's disrespected you and how that you embarrassed in front of your friends, number one, he's an ungodly man. Number two, take his number out your phone and block him before you take it out. What y'all think happened? They wasn't hurting that bad. This person has scolded you on every social media platform that was out there. They've embarrassed you in front of your friends. What are you hoping and holding on to? Male or female? I've had guys too. Most guys are telling lies. All of us have been in the broken-hearted club at some point in time. That's why most of us are stupid, because we're still trying to get even with somebody in the 7th grade. We're trying to get even with somebody in middle school who didn't want to go to the what do they call it? Not the prom, but the school dance. See, because most people can't handle rejection. Let me help you out this evening. Rejection is a key ingredient to a new direction. Let me say it again. Rejection. See, the problem is you made it too personal. Sometime when a person rejects you, they're literally telling you, I'm not good enough for you. And my lifestyle of running over people, I will run over you. And so because you're just so determined, because you think he or she is this great trophy piece that you just got to have them, they run over your life. They warned you. I have a friend that told a friend, he said to her, yeah, I like you. I think you have all the qualities that I would need in a person. And he asked me about it. I'll just listen. He said, but I told her, listen, I'm not in a good place right now. I'm angry because of my past relationship. I'm angry of how I was done in my past relationship. And I'm angry at myself, what I allowed myself to do in my past relationship. So there's really no way I could treat you the way you want to be treated. And her message to him was, if I can't be your woman, I don't want to be your friend. And they left. And he was being very honest to say, let me heal. See, because you're desperate, don't make another bad decision. And if you're coming out of a bad relationship, if you're coming out of a bad job situation, if you're coming out of a bad family environment, that ain't the time to run and go get a new family. If you can put back up, I don't know if you have another slide, but when you have been burned, and you have been, see, first of all, God wants to flow through you. But because of the association with ungodly people, the words that come out of their mouth can burn the rest of your life. They could burn you to a point that you're at a point of no recovery. They can hurt you. See, because that water represents flowing through you. Water represents, if you drink a lot of water, it pours life into you. It keeps your nutrients and vitamins, and there's something in water. And I don't have a problem with admitting that I was slow. But I was watching Nature the other night, and it said that fresh water comes from rain. And it's purified when it hits the rocks. See, you're afraid of the friction. You have been rejected so much that you think everybody is going to continue to reject you. If you're in line with God, Sometimes you're being rejected because that's not the place you should be. Sometimes you're having a tough time on your job because that's not the place you should be. You're trying to stick to something that ain't trying to stick to you. I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to try to close this. If you can find the slide with the fire, stop trying to be in a place that's not open to the gifts and talents that you have. Stop trying to fit in. Stop praying and asking God to keep you on a job that don't pay you enough to pay your bills, let alone pay you enough to build on your creativities. Lift up your head. Don't sit there and think another day or another moment, Lord, why me every time I go somewhere? You know, sometimes you got to look at the tea leaves and realize that God is saying to you, you belong in a different place. Just sit down and do an assessment. How many times have the same thing happened to you over and over again? You and I and everybody else are going to have to look at our choices. Who we're choosing to hang out with, what company we're choosing to be loyal to, because you can be loyal to a company, but that company will not be loyal to you. I heard a brother who is recovering now from some situations that happened on his job, and he said, one of the biggest things I learned with all this pain that I'm in, at the end of the day, and no matter how many years you've been there, you ain't nothing but a number. And they will replace you. You've got your house, you've got your kids, you've got your grandkids, you've got your mortgage, you've got your vehicles, you've got your retirement, and all you are to them is a case number. I encourage you, be aware. If you and I can make it through this month, but we must be prepared to handle the friction. And I have a couple pieces, but we won't dig into that, but I'll give you this. What are you digging for? People that are digging into you are not happy with their own lives. See, some people don't want you. Some companies really don't care for you. So you've been drug along. And because you don't value who you are, and let me clear this. Your attitude about yourself, the little shoes you have on, the little $2 suit you have on, the Buster Brown shoes you have on, those little eyeglasses that you have on that are by designers, don't have nothing to do with nothing. That's just something you paid for. That's why I went out and quit buying Versace and all of that, and I have me some $8 frames on. I'm trying to hold on to them. These $8 frames are working just like the $285 and $375 frame. Money can't buy you value. And when you find out the true value of who you are, you find out you don't need all those things, because all those things are nothing but emblems and shields to hide behind. People that are digging into you are not happy with their own lives. And they're not happy with their own dirt. Anyone that criticizes you from this day forward, Maya Angelou said this, when people show you who they are, believe them. If they're not supportive of you today, they didn't believe in anything that you had from the beginning. There's an old saying by the older group, quit crying over spilled milk. Wipe your eyes, blow your nose, and get up. And be aware of this month. Here are two things you have to be aware of. People throwing dirt and shade on you. See, let me tell you, when your skin gets thick, it's when it don't matter what they say. I have people all the time. Well, if he would have did it this way, and I would have did, and I always say, and this is why you hear me say it, it's not ever egotistical or braggadocious or arrogant. It's like, get your own show. If you watch my show that much that you can critique what I say and when I say it and how I say it, and people, they don't get it, My audience does not relate to the exegesis and the narrative and the context of the this, that, and the other, and what was in the Greek and the Hebrew. My audience look for conversations that they can think about their life. I said it at every beginning of every broadcast. The House of Reconciliation is about, let me find it, because you know the boogeyman always trying to be in the way. Is about to identify and ratify and move on from past experience and grow in Christ. Until I know why I am messed up, there ain't no need of me trying to have a relationship with God when I can't even have a decent relationship with myself. And too many people have come to God to get their issues fixed, but not get their spiritual life together. God bless you. I will see you soon.